Blog Talk Radio.
Yo, what's up, world? It's Badass Thuggin' like I usually do, and you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Black.
Yo, check this out. This is your girl, Cola Vogue, and I'm chilling with my boys right here on Off the Cuff Radio. Cause we off the cuff right now. You dig?
Bet. What's up? It's your boy Lil Yap from UNLV, bragging up from the river, cooling with my homies and my family at Off the Cuff Radio. Y'all be sure to tune in on Fridays and get the latest scoop and find out what's happening. You heard me?
Tiffany Lavon.
And it's Queen Crazy, your girl's favorite bartender.
And we're from
Sex on the Rocks podcast.
Alright, you're now tuning in to Off the Cuff Radio.
Yeah, because they keep representing that real hip-hop. Well, much love.
Alright.
Y'all, this is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the livest show on Friday nights Off the Cuff Radio. And I'm live from the 704. Make sure y'all tune in for the blazing hot music.
Hey y'all, this is Stacey Lachey, giving a shout out to King Eric and Off the Cuff Radio.
What's shaking, y'all? This is the Grand, one half of Lost Cause and 1/3 of that Drive Time thing. Sending my love to the homies over at Off the Cuff Radio. Tune in every Friday night for some real deal hip-hop conversation. These dudes are the connoisseurs of this thing. You already know what it is. BX Stand Up, HUD City, we're shaking. Peace.
Yo, this is Dope Fresh to Dine, and y'all tuned in to the most raw, uncut show on radio, the Guillotine Team, Off the Cuff, and yo, Eric, Sandman, off to these clowns' heads.
The f*** are you talking about? The f*** are you talking about?
I used to care about the radio and how the game spins. Now my only focus is bars that make your face cringe. I ain't trying to make hits, I create turbulence like when the plane shifts. Daniel's son with the crane kick came up in the basement. Sharpies on the blank disc, now audio fiends just stream. See how the game shifts? So bang this, orgy for your ear holes. And if you don't feel this, then you a weirdo. I only get excited when the deal's close, cause I know I live a life that you would kill for. In '09 I paid my plugs and I walked away. Blow dried and hot, comb the money, now it's long and straight. Oops, I'm lying, I'm broke. Now the cat's out the bag and the lion is woke. You not a true head, your top 5 is a joke. Anyhow, there's some lines you can quote. Hey yo, we only concerned with real bars over here. All your fairy tale rhymes, I don't wanna hear it. Ain't gotta say it's our time, cause that's all year. And even when I die, I'm a rhyming spirit. We only concerned with real bars over here. All your fairy tale rhymes, I don't wanna hear it. Ain't gotta say it's our time, cause that's all year. And even when I die, I'm a rhyming spirit. And when I die, I'll be a rapping ghost. Treat the studio like the kitchen, I'm just bagging dope. Classic quotes, facts spoken, every track I wrote. Magnum opus, hot as magma flowing, you don't want no smoke. Watch close, I'll show you how to turn cold to a diamond. Perfect timing, even I gotta decipher when I rhyme it. I am a modern day Mayan, all I do is build. Scribing lines of papaya until the truth's revealed. You should kneel, I'm smooth as a coupe de ville. Still something you should fear, I'ma prove it here, for real. I'm psycho with the vernacular, what I write they wait on and predict it like when the rapture coming. Drumming, and that's me on the pads and buttons. Sounds like easy math when we do the numbers. These days an MC is like an oddity. I'm bringing bars back like mumble rappers at the pharmacy. We only concerned with real bars over here. All your fairy tale rhymes, I don't wanna hear it. Ain't gotta say it's our time, cause that's all year. And even when I die, I'm a rhyming spirit. We only concerned with real bars over here. All your fairy tale rhymes, I don't wanna hear it. Ain't gotta say it's our time, cause that's all year. And even when I die, I'm a rhyming spirit. substance, you gon' remember my name. PHPH, the city I claim. In due time, they'll give my city acclaim. Riding around the streets like I never left. My legacy's forever here. Moke Street on the steps, 24th and Van Ness. South Boulevard, where I bag the crack. I'm gifted and these words are a gift. I should rap these raps. The rhymes are less than impressive. I take a nap to that. My rhymes are out of this world. You gotta GPS my bars. In other words, you gotta track my tracks. I mastered that flow, have it back. Everybody learns to walk, it's much harder to fly. I've been above the clouds since Carl Kanai. Live in the booth, I could draw a picture of it. I've been having juice, I could pour a picture of it. It's nothing, and no, I'm not cocky, I'm confident. Won't be satisfied till Flex drops a bomb on it. Home sweet home. Ever since a youngin', I've been deadly with the flow. Been a lot of places, but no matter where I roam, there's one thing I know, there's nothing like home, my home. Home sweet home. Ever since a youngin', I've been deadly with the flow. Been a lot of places, but no matter where I roam, there's one thing I know, there's nothing like home, my home. I'm here to set the bar, take it literal. PH versus everybody, no subliminal, this for the city though. Let's bring the real in like a fishing pole. I'm known to eye a zip, no digital. Graduated school of hard knocks and you just enrolled. Put your ear to the speaker, literally listen close. You ask for bars, well you get what you wishing for. If everyone can have his gift, niggas' Christmas list would grow. If you know me, then you know I live a wild life. I was out in Arizona with the wildlife. Before you walk in my shoes, make sure they tied right. Hit the news like Cronkite, I bomb mics on sight. Known to kill the stage, then skate like I'm on ice. Yeah, that's past real talk, that's on life. I've been where I had none left, now I'm alright. None left, alright. Home sweet home. Ever since a youngin', I've been deadly with the flow. Been a lot of places, but no matter where I roam, there's one thing I know, there's nothing like home, my home. Home sweet home. Ever since a youngin', I've been deadly with the flow. Been a lot of places, but no matter where I roam, there's one thing I know, there's nothing like home, my home.
Yeah, what it do, y'all? This your boy King Ed the Great, and you're now tuned in a special double-header episode of the livest hip-hop show on Friday nights and Sunday nights, Off the Cuff Radio, y'all. Sponsored by Da Vinci Clovis, sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Core Financial, Jesse's Boutiques, Dirty Basement. You know what it do. And we got a special line up tonight. And I got my man T-Max with the facts on the line.
Yeah, man, another Super Sunday, OTC, and a place to be on the air. We there. Shout out to our co-host of Spirit, a lot of Sandman, Lady Chinchilla, So Illa Trilla. And yeah, King, you know, we hold a church again this Sunday with the broadcast, man. Go ahead and tell our listeners about who we got tonight.
Yeah, we have a double header going on tonight, and for the first hour here, this man here, he reigns out of Detroit, Michigan. And first of all, let me give a shout out to Underground Hip Hop Blog, because that's how I found this guy. Let me tell you this, man. What you get when you find a joint so dope it make you jump out of bed? That was what that first joint did right there for me. So I was like, yo, I got to find this dude right here. So I did a little research, and I found this dude been on his grind heavy, putting it down with the bars, killing it on the underground scene. And I figured we got to put him on the show. And ironically enough, it's on July 5th, the day where Lex Luger slammed Yokozuna. He shook the game up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Look. Look, once again, off the cuff, we always got the heavyweights, man. And I mean, look, Son repping it from the 313, no doubt. So I guess we just go ahead, King. Go ahead and get the introduction.
So without further ado, man, let's bring on my man, Substance 810. Come on board, bro.
Yeah.
Peace. What's up, family? What's good?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I'm just sitting in the back of my garage, just enjoying this beautiful day. You know, how y'all doing?
We good, man.
Good, man.
You know, first off, we got to
appreciate the introduction of grandeur. That was amazing, yo. No doubt, you know.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, look, we always want to roll out the red carpet of respect for our guests, man. And, you know, of course, we got to shout out Armando from UndergroundHipHopBlog.com, you know, for featuring your music. Good friend of ours and a good guy across the board. So, I mean, look, you represent.
Man. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, man. So you represent the 313, that dope D. You know how up in Michigan.
I'm from Port Huron, though, but I love Detroit, bro. I love Detroit.
Okay.
I'm a little bit outside, like an hour outside. You know what I'm saying? But that's my hometown. Like, I love Detroit like a motherfucker, though. I move around there a lot. But really where I'm from is from Port Huron, though. Port Huron, Michigan. It's a little town by the water.
Okay.
Sweet.
I guess we're going to get right into it, man. I mean, look, you know, King, you know, gave me some of your stuff to listen to, you know, prior to. And obviously we had some of your work, you know, feature before we actually brought you into the queue, man. I mean, obviously, look, you got more freebase than Raw, more dope than Bolivia, you know, and all of South America put together. So go ahead, Dunn. Tell us your story about, you know, your life, how you got into the game, your inspirations. Look, we got a little time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Damn, I mean, I think, man. I shout out my dude, Champtown from Detroit. That's probably where I got, like...
Yeah, I remember Champtown.
My first,
man.
Yeah, you know, you heard Champtown. He had Straight Jacket Records. He still got Straight Jacket. He don't put out nothing currently, but that's where I first had my independent. I was signed on an independent there, like 2003.
Okay.
Shit, around that time, I was just working on a lot of stuff. That stuff kind of fizzled out. It was fucking like laid the foundation, though. You know, like Champ used to have us doing a lot of rehearsals, like a lot of real live show action. You know what I'm saying? A lot of like, we got a lot of experience like touring. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was me, it was this cat Money Mike. Mike Spear, it was this Asian pop group, man, Yang Cool. I forget their names individually. It was Sweets, this little girl rapping. It was a bunch of cats on the label, and we was like getting experience touring and whatnot. You know, our first like experience being on hotels and going to radio shows on the road and booking a room and going to the studio. And we was working with this cat Tom Tucker down there in Minnesota at the time. Champ had us down there. He's working on our albums. This dude used to mix some stuff for Prince. That's like a whole other story. But we did that, and that kind of fizzled out. And that's where I really just started doing my own thing. Me and Mike was doing our shit heavy from there. We had something called Raw to War. They actually brought me in that. Like, Raw to War was like something the OGs started. And they continued it on and kind of brought me in it. We kind of built that legacy and then did our solo things from there. And then, like, that's when I put out my first joint, probably around 2006. And pretty much just rocked with the usual suspects, like, from there, bro. Like, pretty much just kept it consistent, too. Like, I've always been selfish as far as influences and what I want to do. I pander here and there, like, with some joints that I got, like, Hustlin'. Like, I got this song called Hustlin', got like 60,000 views. That's definitely a song I pander, you know what I'm saying? I don't even like that joint, though. Like, it's not bar. It's not. I mean, there's bars in it. It's just. It's not what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? I did it at the time because I had to do it, and it was to make an impact or whatever. And that was just the time we was in. But I just say that to say, like, you know, motherfucker did a lot of shit, man. Like, put out that joint in 06. Probably put out, I don't know, man, 4 or 5 like mixtapes as far as free downloads here and there, and maybe 4 or 5 other official releases as far as projects is on all the platforms and everything. Just dropped another one on the 26th just now. You know. Mm-hmm. So I got like 10 albums I'm working on right now. Besides that, like to be on some 100, like right now in the moment, like as I'm talking to you.
Good
Lord. Like niggas is just working, bro. Like
trying to be up there with K Reno. K Reno did 8 in 1 year.
Yo, yeah. I'm about to say the
I'm gonna stretch them out over 2 years though. Like I'm gonna stretch them.
Okay.
Like, you know. So that's where I'm at.
Now,
though.
one
like,
thing about
I'm listening to you.
And one thing about it, man, you come from a a city, a region, a state that from music to the street, is thoroughly respected. We got to shout out, everybody, coming from all over Michigan. Of course, Flint, you had MC Breed, rest in peace. We got to say what's up to BMF coming out of Detroit. Shout out to Southwest T and Big Meech. We got to give shout out to Eshawn, of course, Eminem.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like, man, Royce 5'9", of course, we can't forget Royce.
Obi,
shout out to 7 Mile. Obi Trice, shout out to 7 Mile and 8 Mile. I mean, and shout out to Motown.
Yeah. Motown is the father of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Word. I can hear that. I heard that a lot, matter of fact. I can agree with that.
Definitely. Now, one thing about it, one thing you talk about is, in listening to your music, we hear the passion, we hear the determination, we hear the dedication, we hear the devotion. You were not shy about speaking on your experiences initially, working with Shantown and how he was prepping you, and everybody else. And one thing about it, man, we see so many artists get into this and really don't understand what it really takes in terms of the work you got to put in, let alone, now this is just, there are 2 elements to it. There's the element of actually just making sure your shit is right on the right, and then there's also the other part of actually making those business moves to get it out there. What do you think a lot of artists, how do you feel about artists today, especially with what's going on with this, the internet age? Of course, we got YouTube, SoundCloud, because obviously you've spoken, one of your opening songs about how you live a life that a lot of these artists would die for. And you obviously make allusions to, you did time in the Bing, you was heavy, you was like Hulk Hogan with the weight on the block, man. But it's like, tell us a little bit about, from the authenticity of the game and what artists coming in really have to understand of telling their story and just what's authentic for what's going on.
I mean, I'll break it down on the truest level that I can, like, from a fan of hip hop, right? That's how I look at it. When you talking about, like, because what you're talking about right now is like real life and how you portray it in your rhyme. You know what I'm saying? And like, so, I look at something like Griselda, right? I fucking love Griselda. Like Griselda's what I hold like true. You know why though? You know why? You know what I'm saying? Because it's the rawest. It's the rawest like expression of fucking hip hop and street culture and art and culture. Period. Just it's the rawest fucking expression of culture. Period. That we'll ever fucking see.
We're gonna get
we're
gonna get back to that in a second. Keep going. We're gonna get back to that in a second.
So I enjoy that so much, right? Like, but there's a balance between being polarizing like that and being like overly honest and you know what I'm saying? You can it just depends what you want to do. Like if you really did that, you could be clever about it. You could drop hints. You could talk past tense. You could talk present tense and make it seem like past tense. I mean, but it's a conscious choice that you have to do as an artist, and you got to know that like whatever way you talk about it, people gonna pick up on it and look at and perceive you in a certain way. Like so, it's like always drop my shit where it's like, I did that, it happened. You might not know exactly when it happened, or if you do, it's because I wanted you to know for the context of whatever purpose of saying it in a time it be perfectly placed and said. You know what I'm saying? In the aspects of me, but that's a choice that an MC got to make right there, in and of itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is MCing. That's lyricism right there. Like, your choice in words means everything. You know what I'm saying? A motherfucker could say that he shot somebody in the face, but he could say it much different than this other person that goes to say it in his rhyme the next day. Like, you might not even tell that's what he's saying over there. He's mad blatant with it over there, you know. Like, but this is expression of art, and I be trying to be clever with my shit, like, and I be mad real too, to the point where, like, anybody who listens to my music knows anything that I've done at any given time. Like, you could pretty much just kind of piece it together. Like, if you listen good enough, you know, for real. So that's kind of like my opinion as far as in terms of expression and talking about real life and whatever you may or may not be doing.
And, I think one thing from that level of it, for what you said, because obviously King, myself, all of us, we are like heavy Griselda stands. And I think Griselda definitely has an appeal, like you said, because Griselda, from a level of where, obviously, and I want you to give, your opinion on this as well, the current state of, how a lot of these rappers just, it's just where the game has changed in terms of lyrics and beats and, but what it is, I think Griselda has a charm because Griselda has brought back that feel of the 90s, just that raw, like you said, that uncut. Mm-hmm. I mean, these are real street niggas with real street stories, and either if you really been on the block, you hustled, or you really understand good hip hop, you're gonna know the shit that they talking about. And of course, you being from Michigan, we know about the Best Friends. We know about Maserati Rick, White Boy Rick, the Chambers Brothers. We know how it gets down out there. But Griselda has really echoed the sentiment of what a lot of people, what the industry has kind of right now for a lot of people over the past few years. It felt like the industry itself has tried to shut out that brand of uncut real. And it's an arbitrary, I think, application and feeling of how people are going to say what hip-hop is. I think all the music involved is the culture is, it's hip-hop if you choose to rap. It's just the problem is there's a difference between rapping and MCing, and then also does the music represent the culture appropriately. Those guys found their way in, just like you have, been among the new, vanguard to carry that flag of getting it back to the streets. Where do you think the market changed in terms of what's being put out, and how do you feel about the movement right now with people such as yourself trying to really bring it back to that street essence and keep it from being corporately influenced?
I mean, I honestly feel like that's like preserving the culture. Like that's everybody's. I feel like that's every MC's duty to preserve the culture. Let me think, man. How do I feel? My bad, my guy just came over.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all love, man. Tell your people we said what's up.
So I'm thinking, I'm just thinking like, pretty much it's like how do I feel that the climate has changed, and the responsibility that I have, like, to kind of keep pushing that, like, right? It's kind of where we're at with it.
And where do you think it started changing in terms of, because what we do on the show is we don't burn people on the air of artists we may not necessarily be fans of, but we do pride ourselves on our journalism where we just speak about artists who we think really are not. Like, we look at guys like, Tekashi for his antics in terms of how silly he can get sometimes and has, and then also we all know that story. we look at guys like, Lil Yachty, who I think is a really good kid. I think Yachty just really is still young, who really didn't quite understand, what it, just the place that he's in and what it really takes to keep moving forward with it. Because we see so many artists, and not necessarily limited to those guys, who come in, but they make us indention, even a splash to a degree, but it doesn't stay. And it's like most artists, I guess, feel like they're trying to get in just for the celebrity, but not for really the integrity of contribution.
Man, that's of the utmost importance, bro. Like, everything you just said as far as keeping it authentic, like, I feel like myself, like, 2 years ago when I put out my last album was 2016. Was Outside of Mine 2, was around there. And I was kind of like frustrated with shit. People wasn't really rapping about nothing. Like, people didn't want to hear nothing of no substance or no bars or like all this. This was like 2016, man. You know what I'm saying? Like a bunch of dance music and shit out of it. So I just kind of just fell back. But I remember J. Cole releasing, I think, Forest Hill Drive around that time, and like Kendrick put out what he put out around that time, and then Griselda started going crazy. For real. Yeah. Like Griselda was, I was already like watching Griselda, and even people like Danielson. Like, I just collabed with Danielson on my last album, but I've been like a fan of Danielson since, like, I was joking with him on his live and shit. He was like, yo, I was 16. I wasn't even rapping then because I was trying to like go back and say how long I was a fan, but that's just how long I've just been doing this shit and loving culture. And it's like, when I try to answer that question, like, I get wrapped up in so much shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
it's okay.
This is what it means to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, it really is just like, I watched the culture shift when all that stuff happened, when I took that time off, when J. Cole dropped what he dropped, and Kendrick Lamar dropped what he dropped, and then Griselda really started picking up their momentum. And then it became like people really wanted to hear you rap about shit again. And I was like, bet. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers want to hear you rap again. And I was all for it. And I just started fucking riding bikes, honestly. Like, I wasn't rapping. I couldn't find no inspiration to rap. But I wanted to rap. And knew I had to rap, so I just got on the bike and I'll be listening to beats. And I got, like, bike helped me with my health a lot, like, just clear my mind, and fucking the rhymes started coming, and next thing you know, it was just like, you know, ironically, like a bike, bro. It was like riding fucking bikes, training wheels on the, you know what I'm saying? Like, the shit just came back. And I feel like that is that special feeling that we talking about. Like, that's what everybody looks for in this shit. Like, you look for that feeling that you had in the room when you listen to hip hop on a tape, or whatever feeling that hip hop gives you, man. That's what's really in the forefront right now, for real, to me.
You know what's wild, too, is that, you know, I was listening to some more of your songs, and you have another joint that I heard called Light Work, and what drew me to that joint was you sampled the movie on Suspiria. Is that true?
I ain't even.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That's not even. That shout out to Diego Beats. That's in the beat. That's a sample. I didn't even catch that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's one of the dopest horror movies of the 70s.
Classic horror movie. Yes, classic horror.
You talking about that?
Doom.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I never knew that. You just told me.
Yeah.
Shout out to Diego Beats, man. He's a young producer out of Tucson, Arizona. He's probably like, back then when he did that, man, he was probably 18 or something. Like, back then.
Oh shit.
Bro. Like,
Okay.
I can't remember what. That was when I was in Tucson. That was like. I can't remember when that was. 2016. Yeah. Shout out to him. He killed that beat, and that was me like going over something I usually don't even do, but. And that's what I mean. Like, then I got more selfish. Everything from how forward is just selfish. What I want to do, bro. Like, to be honest with you, I just want to just like go bar heavy and just make hip hop that we all love to give us that feeling we talking about right now. I don't want to do nothing else.
Now,
and that was a refreshing line that you said on the track that we played, where you said you want to bring back the bars to make people face cringe. You know, that's very rare that MCs even want to do that these days.
I agree, and that's like very ironic. I thought that's why we rap. I thought we I chased the feeling where we was in a room rapping to each other, and you literally see a nigga face cringe. Like, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, my best friend BJ in this whole fucking world right here next to me right now, and I know if I say certain bars to him, his face gonna twist the fuck up. And I know that them type of bars, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be saying no any other bars other than such. Like, there's really not much room for fillers and things like that. Like, we're trying to play now. Like, this is like, I don't know, it's like the Olympics, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got regular season ball and shit, and you got playoffs, and you got the Olympics, and you got like Harlem Globetrotters and shit. Like, fuck, niggas trying to globetrot, like, just fucking playing words and just having fun now, bro. Like, doing what we enjoy out this motherfucker, for real.
Definitely. So take us on your journey, because one thing about it is, you know, and I think a lot of artists really have to understand this. To really be dope, this shit is not something that happens overnight. Now, you have people that are natural writers, you know, who still, even though they're great writers, it's hard to translate that into rhythm, which is what rap is, rhythm and poetry. And then you got niggas that's just like, what the fuck are y'all saying? And I mean, but tell us about your evolution in terms of your writing prowess and the process that it took to grow. You know, we've interviewed a lot of people. You know, on the show we talk to people off the air. The average time me and King, we've kind of come to kind of average out talking to people we have. Usually they say it takes about 3 to 4 years to really get your shit polished in terms of really understanding your cadence, your vocabulary, you know, your rhythm, breathing techniques, all of that. What was your trajectory like in terms of your creative process to really get from where you started in the nascent phases to where you are now in the pro stage?
So, all right, so my first mind, boom. Definitely ain't no time span on it for me. You know, there's no 3-4 years that encompasses all of that. It's more like 10,000 hours, right? That's
right.
Facts. 10,000 hours to perfect anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, as an MC, you should know 10,000 hours before you perfect your craft. You got to put in 10,000.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, real hours. So at the point when you got 10,000 in, obviously you're not like just clocking that, but you know, around that time, like you should probably have honed in all of that. So like when I was around that, like, and I was good at doing all the things that was involved in rapping, I started like wanting to know like why I was good at rapping more. So like the only reason I started rapping is because in like 10th grade I was in creative writing class. In high school, I went to Port Huron High. We had creative writing class. I can't even remember my teacher, man. Mr. McDougal, I think his name fucking was. Mr. McDougal. And I never rapped. I think Raw to War was doing their thing already. I wasn't even rapping yet. I was doing creative writing and poetry, and that shit just turned into rap. Like, the poems got too long and started turning into rhymes. Then I had to figure out how to turn the poems into rhymes. And the dopest thing about that is, like, ever since then, I've just been kind of playing with words and just getting better. And then I went out on this trip recently to Ole in New York. Shout out home team out there. My dude Chuck Chan, Deuce Hennessy. Man, there's so many. Anaje, Achilles Shoot, General Back Pain. All those cats out that way, man. Lupus Day. So I met with these cats like recently, but long story short, how this ties in to writing and getting better at writing and what it means to become better and hone your craft. Like 2 of these cats ended up being figurative language teachers, right? So
right.
I sat down with them and they was telling me my rhymes back to me, and they'd be like, yo, this is a simile and this is a metaphor and this is an idiom. My bad if you hear them fireworks, man. That's my neighbor.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's like
You're
this is a automatopoeia. This is a. They break down all. There's like 12 of them as far as figurative language. So then they're like, oh, in this one line you did these 3 things, and then I'll be like, really? And I didn't know. You know, it was like news to me. So I realized, like, while I was there, and this was just a couple weeks ago, that like my whole life I kind of been rhyming by accident. Like I never even been trying to do. Sometimes when I thought I was doing a metaphor, I thought I was doing a simile, or I never really even understood figurative language, you know what I'm saying? And I just been rhyming dope on accident, like not even knowing even what I'm even saying. So like I left there with more power and understanding, but I also knew that I shouldn't think about it too much and influence like whatever natural is within me too. It's almost like if you're a good salesman,
it's an innate quality
already.
It's an innate.
Yeah, you know how you're like, if you're a good salesman, your company don't want to send you to that seminar to taint your natural ability and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like some shit like that.
Because they say you can ruin the craft because when you have something natural that's innate in you, that's the instinct that cannot be taught. That's the it that is undefinable and untraceable, but it's unique and it's distinct to yourself. And, you know, like they say, some things you just can't mess with because it disrupts that whole process. And obviously, from what you're saying, you already had this in you. It was just an evolution of it really manifesting itself, you know, from there.
Bro, they started lighting off these fireworks again. What'd you say in the end, bro?
Fireworks been sounding like war zones. It's been like that out here
like
too.
M80s.
Bro,
like
yeah,
M80s
bro, it's like just because we 3 hours from Chicago, they want to make it seem like we Chicago. I don't know. They go crazy here, man. Like a whole 2 weeks before and after. And what was that last ending point, bro?
Yeah. The last point. Yeah, the ending point was about how, you know, when it's just instinctive that it can't be tainted because you have that it that's unique to you that it defines you.
Yeah.
You know, and you've been doing this, and it's just and I think that's a gift that we're all blessed
to get
from
the
Most High. Yeah.
I think that's what I was trying to say. After your so-called 10,000 hours of perfecting your craft, then it's up to you as to how much you care. And if you want to find, because there's all different types of levels, man. It's like different vocal tones that you could play with. Your voice is an instrument. You realize it somewhere around that point, and you could do other things with it. And it just depends on where you want to go with it. Like at that point, some people just stay painting the same pictures and be happy. You know what I mean? Like I like to expand a little bit. That's what I'm doing now. Kind of trying to see what else I can do. Use different voice ranges and stuff like that. Like use different words even, like without getting too wordy, or you know, like even saying stuff simply.
Where do you find where you find like your artistic creativity? Like what inspires you artistically?
Man, I would like to say experiences, you know, but like I really feel like it's like a constant mix of everything, man. Like who's in your life at the time, who's in my life at the time, where I've been, how I feel lately, like what experiences I've seen. You know, it really depends. Like if I haven't seen a lot and I feel depressed, like I make great music when I'm depressed sometimes. Like in some of the darkest spots, I make some of the best shit. But that might not be like the bar heavy metaphorical, you know, that might be like the real heart wrenching type, like pain music, you know, that comes from that time. Sometimes I made that music when I'm the happiest. Like sometimes it just comes like when it comes, but I guess it's just about staying open for whatever happens at any time, you know what I mean? And just rolling with it.
Yeah. And That's real what you said about the creative process. Like when you said, like when you can be at your lowest emotionally. Like I instantly thought of Mary J. Blige's "My Life," released in 1994, which for all of for anyone out there who's a music head, who knows her history, her story, her songs, arguably her greatest album, but also one of her darkest albums when you really listen to it and know the story behind what was happening at that time. And King and myself were a little older, so we lived through that era, so we really understand, that really what you said really gives emphasis to that point. Because when you're emotionally in a certain place of vulnerability, it leaves you open in a sense of where your mind is. It's all out there, and whether you are happy or whether you are sad, it allows that creative outlet to flow because you're simply expressing what you're feeling at the time. Definitely, the sentiments you echo are more than accurate. In terms of who you feel really has laid those foundations for that portrait of rap, my personal favorite has to be Kool G Rap, hands down. Who are some of your favorites that you think really lay down that are just the consummate MCs that really have helped define the culture over the years?
Favorite MCs that help define the culture? Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say Jay-Z is first for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, where you put the keys at, bro? Oh, my guy. My bad. Let me get my keys back from my brother before he leave my crib. Thank you, my guy. Jay-Z would be first, man. Nas would be next, bro. Cause we talking shaping the culture. For me, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't no disrespect to no forefathers or nothing.
No, it's about your personal
game, like I said. So, like, anybody hearing this, like, this ain't no homage or no, like, overall, like, So, this is my personal thing. Jay-Z, Nas.
Right.
Ironically enough, man, we listened to Dipset a lot when we was fucking coming up. The Lox was fucking heavy for fucking me and my niggas. We listened to the Lox like fucking religiously. I would probably say between Jay-Z, Nas, Wu-Tang, and the Lox, that probably formed me and everybody I grew up with. I'd probably say that. Right? I don't think I'm missing too much. You know what I mean?
Great.
Maybe Biggie for sure.
Great.
You know what I mean? Biggie for sure, but yeah, Pac. Pac for sure too. You know what I mean? Like that kind of goes without saying. That's why I make that disclaimer of I don't want to graze up because niggas like Pac and Big is you just think that's just of course. What else can I talk about that's more interesting, but not disrespect? But yeah, I probably would say it just like that, bro. Jay, Nas, Pac, Big, Wu, Lox, Big Pun. Yeah, that shit. Even Dipset now.
Magic Era.
Yeah.
Man. As far as me growing up, that was the shit I remember growing up. And we still love Slick Rick and all that, you know what I mean? We were still fucking with that. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, we were still fucking with even Public Enemy and just everything. KRS-One and all that shit. We were still fucking with all that shit and saluting all that. But that's the shit that got us excited. Especially Big L and shit like that. I remember watching Big L and Jay-Z Jay-Z and DMX battle at the fucking on the pool table and shit, and then Jay-Z and Big L do the freestyle live on what was that? I can't even Stretch Armstrong. Fucking, I seen the tape on eBay the other day. This is nostalgia.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This is the shit. This is the shit that that's the shit that means shit to me. For real. That type of shit.
Those are the
back when Clue was doing the back
gotta have. They want to try to be nice. They gotta study those albums.
Yeah,
a lot of these dudes don't
doing
even
if they ain't even. If people don't know about none of that, that's just basics. You can't even be calling yourself like preserving the culture and being a rhyme like an MC if you don't. Like, what is you doing? Like,
shout out to Stretch and Bobbito, especially for all the artists that they broke in. You know, I mean, the legends of, you know, who really started what would really become, you know, what we're doing today. You know, much love to them, you know, because they inspired us to do what we do. Now, one thing about it, everybody, a lot of times, now, you're obviously passionate about your music. At the beginning of our interview, you know, you talked about, you know, what it was like in terms of the grooming and everything is like. What do artists really have to understand getting into this business in terms of understanding the work that it puts in terms of the promotions, you know, the inevitable ups and downs, you know, just because a lot of young niggas come in the game and they think that this is just going to be like, you know, like what was it, my man RZA on labels, you know, on Jizz's album Liquid Swords 1995, where he said an intro, you know, it's like, you know, motherfuckers, you know, now think you're gonna come on, you know, you're gonna get rich. Was that a Triumph for the Wu-Tang Forever? It was one of the joints RZA was speaking on, but he's like but RZA said once a lot of young niggas come in the game think you're gonna come on and you're gonna get rich, and it takes years for this. Matter of fact, that was the intro for Triumph, and he said that. And how do you feel about a lot of artists that really think that this is easy in terms of, oh, I just put up something on my SoundCloud, I just put up something on my YouTube, and everybody's just going to catch?
I think you said, it's like my mother used to say, right? I'm at such a loss for words because, like, I know exactly what you're saying, and I know how motherfuckers be feeling at that point in time. Like,
it's okay.
It's like my mom used to say. My mom used to say, never have expectations and you'll never be disappointed, right? That's how this shit is. Like, don't be thinking you about to put X amount of money into something and that's going to have some type of direct result for you, or you know, you got on this radio or this, whatever happened, anything that happened, you just got to just put your head down and just keep working. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, and you don't know how much, like, you shouldn't even be concerned about, like, what you're getting back for it if you're, like, thinking about how you're going to get paid and how quick you're going to get paid from it. Like, you're going to lose sight of why you even do this shit. Like, you shouldn't even be thinking about that. Like, that shit just comes. People going to buy your shit. Like, if you're passionate about your stuff, like, people going to find you from fucking Japan and Berlin and New Zealand and Belgium. These are all places that found me over the weekend. I ain't find them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the work gets you, though. Not expecting any certain thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when you start putting in some work, people gonna come and say, "Oh, you ain't made it yet. You ain't on yet." You know, and you're gonna get to a point like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, music pays bills. Like, I'm doing what I love. Like, oh, I guess I ain't on to you because I ain't on MTV. Like, there's a lot of levels to this shit, and there's a lot of stuff to get caught up in when you're trying to come up in this shit and be a dope MC. And you just gotta realize and remember that you just fucking came into this shit to rap and be dope, and you just wanted niggas to know that you was dope.
Right.
You love hip hop, and you just want to have your part in this shit. And keep it there, and keep it simple, and keep loving the fact of that. Like, you shouldn't even be thinking about anything beyond that. And that's a very long explanation for me to say that, but that's
it's
exactly
okay.
why.
No, speak your mind. I mean? Speak your mind.
You know, because like people think it's too.
Go ahead.
Clear cut, like it's too ABC. Like, it ain't. It's not that. It's there's a lot of fucking hard work and zigzags in the fucking road and paths and shit that leads to nowhere, or maybe does, or comes back around later. Like, there's a lot of twists and turns to this journey. It's like, if that's what you want, just dive in and buckle up, put the work in, and everything will happen how it's supposed to happen. You know, that's the only thing. Shouldn't be no expectations. You should just work.
Have you been
Working, you'll get what you get.
considered still signing to a major yet, or are you good with being independent for right now?
I mean, I'm probably always. I mean, who would not want to sign to a major? But independent is like a thing that anybody would want to do. Like, as far as me, like, I'm in a good space where, like, I work my ass off at my job. It's driving me crazy. Like, I hate doing it, but it supports my life fine if I just keep busting my ass in my job. So, like, music is just extra, and I like it like that.
And that's,
you know what I'm saying? So, like, if it became a job and I was signed to some type of machine and they made it a thing and it was, you know, controlling me too much, I probably wouldn't want that. But if it was somewhere I could do what I need to do, then it'd probably be cool. I don't even think about it, though, because, like, I don't really look at music like that, and that's because that's where shit get fucked up. Like, when you think about stuff like that too much, it fucks with your head.
And what you said really resonates, what you just said, man, because a lot of people see the glamour and the glitz, but nobody really understands the real everyman, you know, Joe the Plumber struggle, you know, for all of us, because, you know, all of us as people, black, white, Latin, Asian, we all, you know, in terms, because we all, a lot for us in the culture, no matter the color, we all have musical aspirations if that's what we choose to do. But we also have regular lives. How important is it for people to understand that it's okay to really to have something legitimate going on in terms of, like, it's okay to live a regular life. You know, it's okay to be open about you know, it's I have responsibilities, because a lot of niggas come in the game, they don't look, dog, niggas will have you on YouTube, you be looking at YouTube videos, yeah. Me and King talk about this all the time, like, niggas will swear up and down, when you see the videos, they got the cars, they got the bitches, they got the thing, and they on. Yeah.
I never been that type of person, man. I never made it something that it wasn't, like, and I never been afraid to, like, it's parts of my songs where I talk about, like, the real amount of money that I'm making from the company that I'm working for at that present time and my percentage, like,
right.
It's a whole song called Midnight Oil where I talk about going to work every day and thinking about selling drugs while I'm at work and doing other types of things while I'm at work. And it vividly describes such things in that song. And I think
that's real. That is real.
I think it's a responsibility of the MC to be that vulnerable. I think you owe that to people. Like, to really to tell your truth like that. Like, if you're not, then you're not really MCing. Like, that's what between rap and hip hop to me. Like, that's a rapper and an MC. Like, that's the difference. You're just rapping if you're not telling your story and being from the heart, like, you know?
You know, and that's real, man, because, you know, one thing about it is, you know, like King and myself, we work regular jobs. We do this, and we're blessed to do it. We love doing it, you know, but we don't try to front like, you know, we're super major, you know, but we and a lot of times what people have to understand, whether, you know, you're broadcasting like we do or rapping like you do, you know, or production like a lot of people do, is you got to get the legwork in terms of making it work for you. You know, I mean, you know, people got to understand this is not something where you can just come in and hit the ground running, you know. In terms of, you know, making those plugs yourself, reaching out, talking to people, building a reputation that is reputable, honorable, honest, you know, it takes time, you know, and but but when you go through those sojourns of you find a lot of you discover about yourself and the people that are willing to share in that journey with you. And like you said, that is a very powerful and poignant point that you made about it is the MC's responsibility to be that candid and to be that openly vulnerable about, you know, what's really going on. Now, we got to get to one of the other questions. Your name. That is an ill-ass name. How did you come up with it?
Substance?
Yes. How did you come up with that?
Damn, that's a good question, bro. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I probably never told no. I don't know if I ever told anybody this. My name used to be Technique. My name was Technique first. You know what I'm saying? Forever. That was my very first name. Tekneek. That was my first name ever.
Gotcha.
It was all like to even say some shit that nobody knows. Special Technique. That's how it was. Special Technique is like this phrase and shit. So Technique, Tekneek. Now shortened it to Tech when I put out the joint in 2006. The irony of that was like that was called the definition of definition Tech. And the album I just put out now this year was called The Definition Of. So it's kind of like full circle thing, but it's like totally different songs and the covers remade or whatever. But I say that to say this, like I did that joint, and that was I put that underneath Tech and Smith and Wesson, Tech and Steel, right?
Right.
Drew from Duck Down hit me with a gracious email, man, and was like, pretty much change your name. You know what I'm saying? Because Tech,
Understood.
Tech, my name at this point, my name was T-E-K, like Tech from he was like, he's gonna be confusing with you and Tech and Steel, blah blah blah. So I had to pick a name, honestly, and this was 2008, I think, something like that, and that's where I came up with Substance, bro. Just like that, like I liked one-word names. I had to change my name. I really needed something that described me and like where I wanted to take it. And I picked that. Like I picked that one word. So I knew that's what I wanted to speak about. Right.
And substance is a great umbrella term because it can mean dope. It can mean full of like real wisdom. And free information for our listeners on Off the Cuff Radio, because we love our listeners so much and we love our guests as much. This is one thing I think, substance, that everybody got to understand too. That and this is something that for any artist coming into the game, you have to do. You know, you have to get your name copyrighted, and a lot of artists don't know this. You got to get your shit copyrighted for your performing name, because these things, obviously, what you did was not intentional. It was not. Obviously, it wasn't going to be disrespectful, but it's just for artists in general. You got to have something that's unique that brands you, and a lot of artists don't know that. It's a copyright. Some artists have their name copywritten and some don't. In terms of their performing name. And if you don't think your name is important, rest in peace to Prince. Ask Prince about all the shit he went through with his shit back in the day with Warner Brothers. And if you think your name is important, yeah. And Prince fought it, dog. King, how long, when you wrote that article about Prince, how long did Prince fight that shit for? He fought that shit for 5-6 years?
He had to put out
about going on 10.
Underneath a whole
10,
symbol.
10 years.
He was putting out albums underneath a symbol, like not even a name, to fight that stuff. I remember that.
Yeah, because
people probably don't even know what that was even about.
Yeah, because he got into a dispute with Warner Brothers, and he didn't own his name, and
so
that's when he started writing. Yeah, Prince Rogers Nelson, rest in peace. That was his real name, and but this is, we enjoy being able to go side to side, back and forth on different subjects that all pertain to the music and just life in general. But a lot of times, a lot of artists come into this game and they don't know what they're signing. They don't understand. Unless you're savvy in business, you're going to get got. And Prince was fortunate; he was able to fight it because he had the money to do it, because he was self-contained. Because he wrote, he produced, he performed. He had a leverage that not many artists have. That he was able to, he could take care of all of that. An average artist don't got that kind of money that they can keep putting out for that. Let alone when they sign a contract sometimes they don't have the right legal representation to make sure that they don't get screwed in it. Another free advice to our listeners are aspiring artists. Don't ever take the lawyer that the record company gives you. Get your own lawyer. Don't let the record company lawyer negotiate your contract under any means, ever.
Yep, I could agree with all of that. And definitely, you know what the biggest thing I could say?
Go ahead.
If anybody wants any type of money from you, it's not real. Just put it that way.
Say that again. If
anybody wants any type of money from you, it's not real. You have to pay for it. Especially if such and such label wants to quote unquote sign you, but you need to give them a deposit or something like that. That's definitely, people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because that shit happens all the time. Mm-hmm. Nobody does that, my nigga. Yeah. Everybody who's listening, nobody does that. Nobody will hit you up to sign you and ask you to pay nothing or come to your door. Just keep working, bro. Like, people will walk up on the street and find you, bro. Like, nobody's going to ask you to pay no money to come look at no contract or nothing. Ain't nobody offering no $5 million to you either. Somebody hit me from Nigeria the other day faking like they was with WizKid. Offered me $5 million for a mixer out in London. Like, this is raw, like, off the cuff for real. Off the cuff radio. This is some real shit. Like, that right. Really just happened, what I just said. A whole Nigerian scam. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit happens all the time. Like,
they still do it?
Like, bro, I promise, man. Like, $5 million, some mixer in London, tell us we'll give you the money to pay for it. Like, stupid stuff, you know? Like, man. And they don't even get started with the coast-to-coast mixtapes and all those things and you got to do and paid performances and all that. It's work.
And you just said something. You know and you just said something about paid performances. Yeah, and you just said something about paid performances.
That's what it is. It is that now. The game is all pay to play. You can pay for anything you want in this game right now. But it don't matter, though.
Now,
like, whatever you get from paying is you're going to lose that real quick. But, like, gain that with the work and watch how, like, long that stick. Like,
now, this is something that could be a bit of a taboo subject, but we're not scared to tackle it like Lawrence Taylor on a corner blitz. What you said about pay. Some of these open mics. Now, there's different feelings about some of these open mics that go on. What is your opinion about a situation where an artist would have to pay to get on a showcase? Now, ideally, because everybody has their definition of what an open mic should be like. Okay, a promoter's renting out the venue, and then you're paying to sign up to perform, or, you know, an artist, or some would say that the artist should not have to perform, and the promoter should be concentrating on highlighting the best talent in the area to really, you know where I'm going, because this gets into a whole myriad of a lot of shit. You know, because also, you know, look, dog, Go ahead.
There's different levels of them, like, of what you're talking about. Like, there's like the people that put on the shows,
right?
And you don't pay nothing, and they give you a certain amount of tickets, and then you sell them tickets and get your bread back, so to speak. Or then there's the people where you might pay for a slot. You know what I mean? And you pay an X amount and you get a slot on that show. Or, you know, then there's like, if you buzzing, you know, obviously there's shows being paid and stuff like that, which is not even that. So the pay to play is only when it's only supposed to be when that whatever, like, that brand is that's doing that show is just of crazy advantage to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Where if you are paying, you're paying for some shit that you would never get off your own merit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, in my opinion, if you are to pay to play, so to speak, better be paying for some shit that you would never, like, get anyway. Like, by rarely pay, if that makes sense. But
got you.
shit like Coast to Coast mixtapes. Shit, I don't pay for that shit no more. Fuck them. Like, they gave me third place because they thought I was like lip syncing or something on stage. Like, they're just want people's money. Like, Team Backpack, that was the dopest thing I ever did in my life. I like did a GoFundMe and people like sent me to New York. It was like 6,000 of us down to like 600, down to like 11 people. I was down to like the last couple hundred or something. Taking the L train every day down to Bushwick in Brooklyn with Team Back. Bro, that was the craziest shit ever. And that's the difference between Team Backpack and Coast to Coast, though. Like, so that shit can be worth it depending who you fucking with. And like, but some of that shit, like, I didn't have to pay to go to Team Backpack, really. I just had to get my way there. Like, you know.
But Team Backpack, and
Coast
I've
to
seen
Coast
the Team Backpack ciphers. Yeah,
that
those
shit's
Team
crazy.
Backpack ciphers are. Yeah, they are. I mean, we got one of the guys who did a track for that. We're not going to say who it is, but he's dope as fuck. Hopefully, we can get him on the show. But when we've seen some of the artists up there, I mean, shout out to Ruby Ibarra, you know, yourself, of course, Joel Ortiz, you know, Sai. I mean, we're just talking about hundreds
crazy.
of MCs
That was
over
Ren
the years.
Thomas. I remember Ren Thomas. I don't know why I remember him. I think he won. I remember him being like the standout. And I remember like people was even drawing comparisons to Action Bronson. Like, I don't even know. That was a crazy time. Like that was a dope time. There was a lot of cats that I'm forgetting though. That was that Team Backpack around them times that was just spitting crazy.
Yeah, but that's a brand.
I can't even
right
recall.
there.
That's a whole nother little lane. There's so many little lanes, especially with the pay to play now. It's just you could go on forever talking about it. To be honest.
Yeah, you know, and one thing, Sub, that I think people got to understand too is that when you're dealing with getting on and getting out there, you know, Team Backpack, like you said, you know, me and King, you know, Sam and Chinchilla, we watched a lot of those videos, and we're just like in all the lyrical wizardry that these artists show, because that's still a brand, that's still something itself. When you get on Team Backpack and you burn it down, you're good. You don't necessarily need a label because you've already established yourself on a respected forum. Shout out to Team Backpack. But a lot of artists do feel like, you know, coming up, a lot of artists do, when they, especially coming from their hometowns and they don't always get on, they think it's hating when nobody supports them. You know, and it's like, okay, we understand that sometimes, you know, like anything, there's a beginner, there's a rookie, and you got to work your way up. But it's like, there's a difference between people legitimately hating on you. Now, notice anyone can hate. They can never stop what you're doing. And this is what artists got to understand. No one can ever stop. Shout out to Rusty Jux when he was on our show last year, and he said that no one can ever stop you from what you're trying to do. But there is such a situation, I think artists have to learn humility in terms of understanding that your shit just may not be popping where you're at. And it's just, you know, it's not hate, it's people.
It could be that.
Shit. Go ahead. Yeah,
it could be that.
Please.
Yeah, like literally what you're saying could be true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that you just got to be okay with that if that's the case. You know, like I always like to draw comparisons to different things to understand points. So like when you say that, it makes me draw the comparison to like when I'm getting a beat from a producer. And I hear like 10 beats, you know what I'm saying? And I keep not picking a beat. It's not because the beats ain't dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't, like I might need a certain beat at that time, like for whatever I'm working on right then, or looking for a certain type of beat. But all these beats I'm hearing is dope. It could even be that, you know what I'm saying? Like you could be putting out good music, but it's just not the good music that the people around you like, or it's not hitting at the time that they need to hear it for the culture at that you know what's going on at that time. Like maybe you ain't in line with the vibes or whatnot. You know, maybe you don't need to be, or maybe people catch up later, maybe you know whatever. You know, like there's a lot of shit within that need to be realized. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, when you start thinking like that, that's how I start thinking.
And you know, we got to take it back to Griselda, because Griselda was when I started getting on the back catalog. Shout out to YouTube for having everything in their mama on air. When I started listening to Griselda in terms of going on their back catalog, because I got on them real heavy last year. I mean, the WWCD was just, oh my God, that to me is the modern day Cuban Link. That's another story. But when I was listening to them, it's like these guys, to see their ascent, because they were always nice, but you saw the progression with Westside, Benny, and Conway as they just progressed from over those, 7-8 years, and really just getting better. And they had really got their hometown in Buffalo locked down, but they still had not quite. It was a climb for them, which they were consistent in, because they never dropped anything whack. But it was just consistently, like you said, working and just getting better to where people started hearing them in terms of the blogs, the magazines, and then it really started to get that momentum. Then you get your outlet,
That's literally
really,
all it is. Like you just gain traction, you just keep digging in, and then you don't see everybody, like, even today, what we doing right now.
Right.
Like, I ain't gonna forget y'all. If I see y'all again, y'all doing something, I'm gonna link back up with y'all. We can always do this again. You know what I'm saying? And, like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to link up with certain people that's moving how you move, whether it's a radio station or a blog or another artist. Move and help each other move to the top. Keep your power circle of people and keep it within that. Like, that's what this is supposed to be about. That's what hip hop is. Like, that's why Griselda's popping like they is, because the culture is behind them like that. That's how the shit should be, though. And for everybody.
And you definitely, you're always welcome back on the show, Sub. And it's just crazy because when I look at Griselda's movement, it's something that for the modern, I think their story is so incredible, because when you look at what these guys have been through, when you know their real story in terms of their life, really being on the street, these guys were incarcerated, of course, Conway being shot and survived. But when you look at how these guys have really gotten the following that they have, I mean, these are guys that are self-made millionaires with because it started as a clothing line, GXFR, if I got the acronym pronounced right. We started as a clothing line before it blossomed into an actual music. But these guys, just to see the blossoming, the evolution, and to see how people gravitated towards them, it's the definition of hard work and understanding that, if you got dope product, people are going to come for it. And these guys did it with I'm not going to say they didn't have a major cosign, because Planet Asia actually was the one, I think it was Westside gave a CD to a guy who actually happened. This was in XXL last year. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD, because that was the Juice WRLD cover. That was a double cover with Juice WRLD and Lil Baby. And they had an interview with Griselda, and they talked about this. And they were just talking about how, they, built it up. And, I think it was Westside gave a CD to a dude. He just taught it at the bus stop, airport, what have you. Didn't think anything of it. Guy listens to the CD, loves it, gives it to Planet Asia, who reaches out to him. And it goes from there. But
I never knew that.
It's in a
crazy.
magazine. If you can find it on eBay,
it's super dope.
Pick up that. It's in like I said, shot of XXL. If you want to catch that magazine on eBay, because it was last year, this is Lil Baby Juice WRLD double cover. Pick it up off of eBay, man, and read that Griselda story, because this is like the first time that this is the first magazine in print that I've actually seen really like interview them and tell their story. I'm waiting. I think this was a short. I think that was a short article. It was a great article, but I think it was short, and I think they really deserve a longer feature. But it was a great introduction to how they they came in the game, how they really got their name out there. And shout out to City Boy, head of Benny's label, Black Soprano Family. We had him on a couple months ago. For all of our listeners out there now. Yeah, and we haven't even heard. There's a lot of guys in that clique. 38 Splush, he's an associate. For all of our listeners out there, if you have not heard the album that 38 Splush did with Cool G Rap, Son of G Rap from 2 years ago, you need to pick that up.
Yep.
Them boys, they are. Yes. that Griselda
38 Splush, shout out to Ito. Yeah.
Now before you go, I know you got to handle some things, man. Do you have any shout outs you want to give out?
Man. Shout out to my dude BJ, my best friend, man, back home from Port Huron. Shout out to my pops. Shout out to my son Tyree, my daughter Viviana, my mom out in North Carolina. My boy Rudy Will, shout out to him. Shout out to everybody back in PH, man. Can't really think of nobody off the top of my head like right now. That's a shout out to God though. Number one.
Definitely. Man, we're so honored, we're so humble, we're so privileged to have you on the show, Sub. You are always welcome back. Shout out to all of Michigan, that whole Midwest region, man. Look, y'all give us so much with Barry Sanders and the Lions, with Fab Five with Michigan, Magic Johnson with the Spartans, Desmond Howard, it's like y'all gave us so much, man. Shout out to all of y'all in Michigan.
So much history.
Man. Yeah,
hey,
so
man,
much history.
We proud. We happy we can contribute. You know what I'm saying? Michigan did a lot for the culture and shit. Motown, all that.
Definitely, man.
Word.
Definitely,
yeah, man.
We appreciate y'all having
doing
me
this,
on,
man. We're
gonna
keep you. We're gonna keep in touch with you. Anything you dropping, man, like whatever your project, video, just let us know. We can link back up. We're gonna keep the PR going.
The album just dropped on the 27th. You know what I'm saying? Before I get off, that joint dropped on the 27th.
Yeah, go ahead, plug it.
Substance810.com is the website. Substance810 on all the streaming platforms. It's real easy. Every social media, every streaming platform is just Substance810. The website is the same thing. Keep it real accessible. So, if you want some real hip hop, man, just come through. I appreciate y'all for real.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you again so much. Thank you.
Salute. Y'all have a good night, all right? Happy holidays.
You too, man. Respect.
Peace.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Now we at hour number 2.
Yo.
Yeah.
My bad, G.
You good.
You good, man.
You good.
You good.
All right. No, I was on the other
bro.
side. Not yet. Continue on. Peace.